Hi everyone. I'm sorry about the less than ideal lighting. I'm in a room where I don't have an overhead light, so and the lamp I do have is really bad. It does not light anything up unless it's like completely dark in this room. Um, so I just have the window open or the blinds open rather. So hopefully that gives enough light for you guys to see. What I want to talk about today is what it's like dating as a blind person. And like I always try to keep in mind, these are my opinions, these are my experiences. It doesn't necessarily have bearing on anybody else except for me. I'm sure there are as at least some common, you know, problems amongst other blind people, but take it for what it is. So, I've dated, you know, somewhat in 24 years I've been alive. It was my birthday last week, so I just turned 24, and I did notice one thing when I was kind of thinking back to the girls I've dated. I've only really dated girls who were visually impaired, like exclusively, not by choice. Believe me, I've asked out more than my fair share of girls. Oh, man, that sounds really bad. I'm not a slut, I promise. um, but I have asked out a lot of girls before. But I've only gone on one date with a girl who wasn't, you know, expressly visually impaired. Sorry, you can probably hear my parents' dogs behind me. They're on my bed. So, I've wondered, like, why might that be? Excuse me. And I like to assume the best of people. So I assume, it was just, oh, darn it. Sorry, that was my alarm. I like that song. It was, listen to that song. Okay, it's snoozing. Okay, sorry about 10 minutes. One of those Crazy Girls by Paramore. That's a good song. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for throwing me off, phone. I like to try and assume the best intentions, or at least I don't like to assume negative intentions. So I go with the assumption that they just rejected me for they were just weren't interested, or it wasn't the right time for them, or whatever it may be. But there is always that doubt of, what if I was rejected because I'm blind? What if I was rejected because I have a disability? What if something that I have no control over was their deciding factor? And while I'm really sure that was not the case for at least most of them, if not all of them, I always do have that doubt. And I always still have that doubt if, that's something that immediately, causes girls to have an aversion to me. But why might that be? If that was the case, what would be some reasons why being blind would cause someone to have an aversion to me? Specifically, me as a blind man, not as a blind woman. I'll get into that in just a second. Why that might be a little different. Well, one of the things is, and this is one of the things I've really thought about, is, the capability I have to defend someone I'm with. Say I'm on a date with a girl, and then some guy comes up and, tries to, mess with her or do something to her. I'm sure one of the things that she might consider is, okay, well, if something happens to me, will he be able to defend me? And, a lot of people will assume, and I don't think it's without reason, that because I'm blind, that's not going to be really an asset in that kind of situation. So they might as well just be by themselves at that point. Which I'd like to think that's not true in my personal case, but I definitely understand that methodology, or that ideology. Another thing is, there is the very real problem of, I can't go and meet someone somewhere or pick up someone and go somewhere, because I can't drive. Or I can't legally drive, I should say. um, I've never driven, just just so we're clear. So that is something that some people, I feel like that's less of a problem. I feel like more women are, that's not really an issue with them. They wouldn't care that much, because that just seems like a very like petty thing to not, to care about. So there's some question as to what am I supposed to do to that, because I can't really help that, and there's really not much I can do. I'm reliant on other people for rides, whether it's actual people I know or some form of ride service like Uber or whatever. So what am I to do about that? And the sad answer is there's really not much I can do. I can't really force people to change their perspectives. One, because that's impossible. Two, because it's immoral. So it's something I'm really struggling with, because I never know for sure how much of it is me as a person. And I try to be someone who would be someone people would want to date. I try to be someone who's friendly and charming and fun and is likable and fun to be around. And I have to think, well, is it me or is it them? And it's a tough question, and it's something that to some extent I don't want to know the answer to, especially if it's someone I really liked. And to think, okay, well, if it's me, well then that's the stuff about me that I need to change, which is good because that means I can constantly improve myself. But if it's them, that means that someone I liked and someone I was interested in is superficial. Understandably superficial. I it's not lost on me that it does make at least some degree of sense to be like that, just from a purely like biological, lizard brain perspective. But still, it's something that's not entirely fair to me or anyone else, because I'm not defined by my disability. Like, I'm far more than just a guy walking around with sunglasses and a cane. There's so much more to my personality than that. And so it's a really hard uphill battle that I have to fight. Going back to what I was saying before about how it can be slightly different for blind women versus blind men. When just how we are societally, men typically ask out women. They'll go up to them and ask them out or talk to them and kind of flirt with them, that whole thing we all know about. I can't really do that. It's very difficult for me to walk up to someone and start talking to them and engage in conversation with them. Sorry. To get a feel for their personality and ask them out. That's not something. Never mind the idea of just going places to do that. I'm just talking about generally just doing that in any sort of situation I might find myself in. Whereas, if you're a girl, a woman, whatever, a lady, someone of the female persuasion, you'll have that, it's more likely that guys will come to you. At least just from what I've observed. Like, I have female friends who are blind, and, they don't really have a problem with guys coming up to them and talking to them. In fact, it's quite the opposite. They have too many guys coming up and talking to them. But that's another conversation for another day. So that's something else I have to struggle with. And I really wish I had an answer on what to do. But then again, if I had an answer, I'd probably be dating someone, so I'm like slowly turning too far to one side, sorry. So I don't honestly know what I can do. I can say that, I've gotten a lot into the negatives of dating a blind person, but I want to go, kind of do some positives of it. there's always the jokey one where, well, if you're a girl and you're dating a blind guy, hey, you don't have to wear makeup if you don't want to. Um, it is true. Like, I've never cared one way or another if a girl's wearing makeup or not. I mean, I understand the whole notion of, a girl doesn't necessarily wear makeup for anyone else other than herself. It's sometimes they wear for other people, sometimes they wear for themselves. But I can certainly say that's at least something you don't have to worry about. And, it is good to know that, the guy you're dating isn't going to be superficial with you. He's not going to be, just... you're going to be hard-pressed to find a blind person who's shallow. That's kind of a weird combination. So, there's that too. And, there's just a certain amount of sensitivity to people's feelings that I think, just kind of the idea of feeling, I guess, like an outsider, that I can certainly say as myself, as a person with a disability, I feel a lot of empathy to people who feel, vastly different than everyone else. To an extent, if there's, thank you Paramore. If you're doing something illegal, I can't empathize with you. So there's that too. I don't script these at all when I make these videos. I just kind of talk off the cuff and then just let myself talk. I really should. It probably would be better for organization, but yeah, I like just kind of saying things as they come out. Probably should wrap this up though. I will say I'm a little miffed at the fact that I've never been on a blind date. 'Cause, come on, the irony, like, irony. Oh my gosh. This video needs to end. Like, honestly, if I'm making terrible puns, I need to. That's a sign that I need to stop. But I don't know. So I wish I had more concrete answers, but it's just how I feel. What I've experienced. But there's always hope for the future, and anyone. This is my bottom line with regards, because it's difficult dating as a blind person, because there's all the added stresses and stuff like that, and a lot of stuff I haven't even gotten into. But what I always believed is that anyone who is worth your time is willing to deal with those hardships, deal with those things that make the relationship just a little harder. That's someone who's worth your time. Like, would you honestly want to be with someone who would look at your disability, or look at your race, or look at your whatever, and then be like, no, I don't want that in my life, and then walk away from you? Would you want someone like that to be with you? I wouldn't. But that's my opinion. So leave in comments your guys' thoughts, your feelings, any experiences you have, maybe dating someone with a disability or dating someone who's blind, hardships you faced, the benefits of it, whatever you want. Follow me on Twitter. I'll leave my link in the description, at Kyle Boga. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope the day gets better here. It's storming, but that's okay. Because, behind the storm clouds, there's always the sunshine. That sounded so less lame in my head. Alright guys, I'll see you on the flip side. Laters.